Hey Madeline, this is Katie. So I'm learning Canvas outcomes. Here's what I've learned so far about how they work. Um, it'll be easier for me if I kind of draw this out first because that's just kind of how I think. So you can have faculty members in a course can have outcomes. They can create their own outcomes in a Canvas shell, right? Or they can use institution level outcomes that then they find and pull into their course. So I'll show you all this in Canvas in just a second. So maybe outcome one came from the institution level, and maybe outcome two is a course level outcome. Then for the outcomes to be assessed in the course, they have to be included as part of a rubric. So then you put these outcomes into a rubric. Let's say it's assignment one rubric, which includes outcome one, outcome two, but then maybe I'm also grading on some criteria that aren't part of those outcomes. So then, all right, we have to link that in order to be able to grade, to assess that. We need to link that to an assignment. So then this is, the actual assignment, and it's going to be, let's say, Sally students, then work. So this is her assignment that she submitted. So then she's going to get assessed on outcome one, assessed on outcome two, and then assessed on each of these things, right? So let's say she gets like 3 out of 5 for outcome one and 2 out of 5 for outcome two, and then the rest of the stuff is like 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. So out of 20, she's just gotten 15. Right? So then this side, the grade piece, goes into the grades tool. So that's where we see all the grades in Canvas. The outcome assessment goes into what's called the Learning Mastery tool in Canvas. So we can see Sally's achievement of outcomes, and then we can see outcomes across student, because here is Johnny's work, and he was also assessed on outcome one, and he got 5 out of 5. See, so we'll be able to see outcomes across students. Here, I'll show you. Let me go into Canvas. So this is what you've been looking at over here on the other screen, actually, is this learning mastery. So before we get here, though, I'll show you, it starts at the outcomes tool, and you can, with this plus outcome, here's how a faculty member would create a new outcome in their course, right? They name the outcome and set the criteria, the points, how they want to define mastery, and so that would be creating a new outcome for the course. To find an outcome, hold on, let me cancel out of this. To find an institution level outcome, we'd hit the find button and search for those here. In our SDCCD Canvas instance, currently there are no institution level outcomes, so that's why this is one big blank screen. If there were, I'd be able to click on them and import them into my course, right? So I would create all my outcomes, then I go over to my Manage Rubrics button, and I create rubrics that then use those outcomes. So that's where I'm on this piece of it, creating my assignment rubric to include outcomes and or criteria. So if I go into like one of these, I could see here's a criteria of grammar that I'm going to be grading them on, but then I've also got my outcomes. That's what this little target button is, or icon. So I've also pulled in those outcomes into this rubric, okay? Then I have an assignment that then is linked to this rubric, right? And the student submits that assignment. I do all my grading, and that's when I go to, then I can go to my blah, 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 grades tool. And I'm clicked over to Learning Mastery already, but I could click over to grades and just see grades display here. Or, let's see, are grades going to display? Yeah, so grades could display, or I click over to Learning Mastery to see how they did in relation to my outcomes. So I can see student by student how they did. If I hover my mouse over the outcome itself, outcomes are listed across the top here, so I only have 2 in this course. That's how I can see across all my students what the performance was for achieving that outcome and how my students did as a whole. That's like aggregate. Here is then, you know, student by student, I can see how they did meeting those outcomes or not. Okay, hopefully that helps. I'll send you a couple other Canvas videos too that might help because I'm still learning. That looks pretty cool. Let me know if you've got more questions for me or if I can clarify anything. Thanks.